In this how-to video, we will outline and demonstrate all of the steps needed to convert your small valve mass or pressure controller from an upstream control to downstream control. This configuration may be more useful for applications utilizing vacuum or ones where back pressure control is needed. Here are the items you will need to carry out the conversion: your Alicat device, a razor blade, a T8 Torx driver, 3/32 and 7/64 hex drivers. First, carefully slice the warranty label along the case part seam using the razor blade. Now, remove the two screws located at the top of the valve shell using the 3/32 hex driver. Remove the black plastic cap straight up, as well as the aluminum cover as shown in the video. Next, remove the two large screws which mount the valve assembly to the sensor head. Use the 7/64 hex driver and be careful not to lose any pieces when pulling the assembly apart. We will now need to remove 6 of the 8 T8 Torx screws which attach the electronics case to the device. Note which screws to remove in the video, as it is not necessary to remove the 2 screws on the lower rear case half. With the 6 screws removed, pull the front case half out from the bottom. You can also remove the case top at this stage as well. Now, grasp the membrane switch ribbon cable and carefully pull straight up until the case front is released from the electronics connector. Using the tip of your razor blade, pry out the 2 red retaining rings. This will allow you to remove the LCD display in the next step. Be careful not to scratch the PCB or LCD when using the razor. To remove the LCD panel, simply grip the display as shown and pull it straight out away from the main PCB. Use slow and steady force as to protect the electronic components. With everything now disassembled, move the valve wires and grommet to the right side case cutout. Replace the recently removed LCD, being careful to correctly line up the 10-pin connector before pushing it on. Once the display is seated firmly, complete this step by pressing on the red plastic rings with your thumb. Recasing the device is the reverse of the disassembly process. So first, attach the ribbon cable of the membrane switch to the display header. The connector is a flat, multi-pin block. Please be sure to verify that all pins are connected properly, as it is easy to accidentally offset the connection. Make sure the wire grommet is seated correctly when replacing the front case half. Be sure not to pinch the wires between the case parts. Now, using the T8 Torx driver, screw in the 6 case screws, making sure to properly seat the top plate onto the connection ports. To complete the casing phase, reinsert the plastic plug into the left side hole on the case seam. It is important to understand that the brass valve block has a specific inlet and outlet orientation. Now, rotate the brass valve 180 degrees within the valve coil. Please note that the inlet hole is closer to the valve stem and the outlet hole is near the bottom. Once this concept is understood, the rest of the assembly process should go without problem. Now we are ready to reattach the valve and its associated components. Once again, note the orientation of the valve block components so that the hole passages are aligned with the brass valve. That is, with gas flowing left to right, the inlet of the valve is on the high side and the outlet of the control valve is on the low side of the brass block. Here is the outlet port of the valve, and on the other side, the inlet port of the valve. Lay the brass valve into the receiving piece as shown. Now, place the steel alignment pins into the two holes that flank the gas outlet hole. Place the end block onto the assembly, once again noting the orientation of the flow passages. Before inserting the 7/64 screws into this assembly, verify the O-ring gaskets are present and seated properly. Also, verify the alignment pins are locked into their respective detents. Firmly tighten the 7/64 screws in unison, but do not over-torque. It is also helpful to reassemble this step on a flat surface as to assist in proper alignment. The final step is to prepare the valve driver circuit board for encasement within the protective valve shell. Carefully twist the circuit board as needed to allow for a properly orientated, compact fitting of the wires and PCB. Then, simply slide the aluminum valve shell over the valve coil, followed by the plastic top cap and screws. Some wiggling of the valve screws may be necessary to get them to seat properly. Use the 3/32 hex driver to tighten the screws. Now that the valve has been moved from inlet to outlet, it is necessary to check the proper function of the valve. Verify the valve controls flow as expected, stops flow when closed, and that there is no leak through. If any of the aforementioned problems occur, the valve or related blocks may be installed backwards. Let's take a moment to review the steps to switch the position of the valve. Cut the warranty label along the case seam. Remove the valve shell. Remove the valve block. Remove the case front and display. Move valve to the opposite side. And reassemble the controller in the reverse order of disassembly. Thank you for watching this Alicat educational presentation. If you have further questions, feel free to contact any Alicat associate.